Today, we're on a destination portrait shoot here in Dana Point. This is all about epic portraits with tiny gear. Let's go. So I've been doing this now for a little bit more than 10 years, which in and of itself is a bit crazy. But what's nuts to me is how the production footprint, how our gear has just shrunk down so much. I mean, I'm at this place where I can create imagery that I never thought possible with such a small kit of gear. Today in my backpack, I have everything that I need. And I remember just a few years back, I was up in Yosemite and we still had great gear back then, but I still needed an assistant to help me to get up the mountain. Now I've got my lighting stand, I've got my A2, I've got my camera, the lens, everything I need, and I could do it all my own. You know, small gear, this tiny production footprint is so key for a number of reasons, but one of the biggest is just doing destination shoots like this, getting out to locations without needing extra assistance, without breaking our back. All of this is critical, and it's made photography so much more fun and accessible. We're on location. Let me show you what I'm thinking. If you guys know me, I love using the CAMP framework. It makes things very easy to kind of not only explain, but just understand the shoot process when we arrive on a location. So CAMP is composition, ambient light, modify, photograph. Composition-wise, that's my first thought, is I want a wider angle image. So here on my R5, I'm using a 15 to 35, a wide angle lens, and I want to shoot from this sort of angle. See, what I'm thinking is kind of getting this shot where I'm gonna have my female subject kind of stand more in the light and my male subject in the shadow where this line cuts across the frame. By the way, this is Tyson and Olivia. Say hi. We'll link them up later. You'll figure it out. Okay, so I'm gonna go probably from this angle. Yeah, I like this right here. So this is basically what the shot is gonna look like. In fact, I'm gonna place my camera down just so I kind of know a reference point. And before I worry about dialing in settings and all of that, I'm gonna place them into the scene so I can get an idea of the lighting. So let's do this. Olivia, I'm gonna have you come down and stand in that light. Tyson, you're gonna be in the shadow kind of next to her, okay? We're gonna have to do a lot of micro adjusting in positions like this because it's a very technical image with each of them in different spots of the frame. So Olivia, scoot a little bit this way, almost towards the wall of the cave, yep. And you're gonna give me your back. So kind of turn the back to me. What I'm gonna have you do is kind of play with the dress with the right hand. And Tyson, you're gonna scoot a little bit closer to her, but where I still have you in the shadow, right there, perfect. And then hold his hand with your hand right there. Tyson, you're gonna kind of look down to this side and then put the right hand into the pocket. Let's go ahead and just dial in ambient light so I can kind of set the intention for the shot. I'm not too worried right now about getting the ambient light perfectly exposed because I kind of like it sort of bright. So what I wanna do is get the exposure set to where Olivia is the right brightness. And I'm gonna go ahead and just move my light for a second. Olivia, look down and towards the hand side. Yeah, there you go, right there. So you can kind of see what I'm gonna aim at. So composition-wise, notice I'm getting low and I'm kind of splitting them. I'm putting him right over the brighter side of the sky, so he's in that clean spot. I'm putting her right over the cave on that side. So we kind of split them down the line where the hands are being held. So now we get to the modify piece. This is where we need to add our light source. Now I placed my remote here somewhere. There it is. I got the newfangled Profoto remote. I got absolute power now that shows on display, and of course, Profoto makes things very easy to use as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this on. One of the other things that has changed so much over the years is my equipment has gotten so much more reliable. It's one of the reasons I've always loved shooting Profoto because I go out to a destination like this. You guys saw how difficult it was to get here. 10 years ago, when I was using these other flashes and other pieces of equipment, you get to a spot like this and things don't fire consistently. It's the most aggravating and frustrating thing, and it adds so much pressure and anxiety to a photo shoot. Now it's like, I don't worry about that stuff anymore. Since I've been shooting this, I've never worried about it. So anyway, just a side note. They didn't pay me to say that. I'm just saying that because I genuinely feel that. Okay, so with this, I'm gonna go ahead and place my light. So we're in this modify piece of the CAMP framework. I've got my A2 up here on the stand. Again, the beauty of this, I got 100 watt seconds of power in this. This is basically 2 small flashes worth of power in this guy. I've also placed onto it the click grid. The reason is they're so close to each other, I don't want this light to spill everywhere. This grid is gonna funnel that light. A couple awesome things about the A2 while I'm kind of putting in position. It uses the same A-series batteries and we get a lot of shots off it. I'm gonna place it right here. So we get a lot of power, we get a lot of shots off the same batteries that we've had, and a tiny footprint. Just an awesome combination. Okay, now go ahead and hold hands so I can kind of get a gauge. And Tyson's gonna look down to the side because I'm gonna place the light. And so what I wanna do is get it a little bit higher than Tyson. Tyson's pretty tall, so I gotta get this up a little bit. We generally want our light sources coming top down because it's just gonna look a lot more natural than the other way around. If it's coming from a lower angle, it tends to not quite look right. Now for the most part, from my angle, in fact, if Via comes to my angle a little more, you'll see that Olivia's almost like in his shadow. And that's where I want, because that light's not really gonna hit her all that much. It's gonna really stop on Tyson. Okay, we're gonna do a little test pop just to make sure it's at a good spot, good angle. It's good, stable. It's at 10 power. I'm gonna start it there because it's really bright and it's gonna be a good place to start. With everything dialed in, now I'm ready to get to the final piece, photograph, or pose and then photograph, right? They're mostly posed and everything's set up. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my camera angle, find that composition where I was at. Okay, we're gonna get a shot. That's fantastic. It's kind of also not as typical for like an engagement photo because it's a photograph where it's almost a little more about him than about her, which I kind of like. I like bringing our guys to the front and center a little bit more, but both of them look fantastic. I love that. Now if we zoom in and we look at that, you can see how we have great light control. Most of that light is just hitting him. That's it. Tiny gear, incredible photographs. I mean, we have our camera, a wide angle lens, the remote, and a light. And that's all we need to pull off stuff like this, which is awesome. I love where photography technology has brought us. I want to give Profoto a shout out and thank you for sponsoring this video, for providing this A2, which we're going to be using a ton, not only in our content, but in our client work as well. And we're going to link up everything that we use in the description of the photo. We'll also link up our models so you guys can give them a follow. And as always, be sure to like the video, tell me what you thought about it in the comments, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.